Okay, so that's climate and energy policy covered and ABC bias. Let me now meld them together and give you a little bit of an insight into how the ABC is hard at work now, bolstering the Labor, Greens and Teal position on climate and energy and attacking the coalition. Have a listen to this for your publicly funded, objective and fair political journalism.
Can I just describe where the Liberal Party has landed here? Instead of making a decision on emissions reduction and energy policy, the Liberals have agreed to every request that has come through the Liberal party room to some degree, have landed with a grab bag of promises, many of them completely contradicting each other. We're going to dump net zero as a commitment. We're going to walk away from the 2030, 2035 targets that have been set, even though we're locked in under international treaty, under agreement with Paris, but we're staying in Paris, but we're ignoring Paris. So we're both dumping the policy and staying in Paris. Everyone's trying to be accommodated. So they've ended up with a nonsensical policy that doesn't actually make sense.
Wow, you paid for that jaundice and actually factually wrong analysis, and you paid to have it spread far and wide too on social media. This country is not locked into targets under Paris. Our laws control our own policies and targets, and the Paris Agreement can't force this country to do anything. It's one of the reasons the whole artifice is such a pointless joke. And here's more from the same publicly funded post.
Why is this so damaging for Susan Lee? Because in my view, what I witnessed of this woman who said she was bringing the party to the sensible centre when she got elected, capitulating as she has, talking about, net zero, it's all gone, and standing up and saying that really created a vulnerability for her in a weird kind of way, because she looks like she stands for nothing.
Why do all ABC journalists and presenters have the same views on all the key issues? I mean, this stuff is incredible, isn't it? They are supposed to be objective and fair under the law, under the ABC Charter, under which they get taxpayers' funds, and then they openly campaign here for the Labor, Greens and Teals position on climate and energy, no matter how costly, ineffective and silly that policy is. Now, it is relevant, of course, to ask how the coalition policy would work and how it would lower prices. But crucially, and even more importantly, we should expect a bit of scrutiny on how the existing policies of a government that's been in power for more than 3 years and under whose policies prices have been skyrocketing, even though they promised to cut them significantly.
In the same way, there's no evidence that the Labor Party's policy is going to bring down prices either.
Yeah, and we'll come to that because it's a legitimate concern that people have about power prices, but you would think the coalition is going to need to show how it's going to bring those prices down if that's where it wants to fight.
So the question really for the coalition is, in the short term, how are you going to bring down prices? Like, what are you going to do to get the Narrabri gas into the market? What are you going to do to extend the coal-fired power stations we have beyond their existing life to bring down power prices in the short to medium term? And that kind of remains the question.
No, doesn't the question remain why the current policies aren't working? Why can't the ABC dare to ask why the renewables transition is costing so much and how what the government spruiks as the cheapest power continues to push prices up and reliability down? They focus on attacking the opposition relentlessly instead, just like Labor, the Greens and the Teals do. But on insiders, they did eventually get around to the government.
Can this put pressure on the government? Should they be worried here about an assault on from the coalition aimed at linking net zero to your high power bills?
But it's just politics, isn't it? It's politics and politicking all the time. That's all they care about. What about the reality? What about the energy that is the lifeblood of our economy? Mainstream Australians aren't so interested in the political problems one way or the other for this party or that. What they're more interested in is a policy that can make the energy grid work and give us the affordable and reliable power that we keep being promised. This politically skewed version of the debate even infects the ABC's straight news coverage.
The Coalition has taken a huge gamble and it's asking voters to take a leap of faith. Susan Lee won't say when power bills would come down under her plan or by how much, and she won't commit to setting emissions reduction targets until the Coalition's in government. Labor is vulnerable to attacks on rising electricity costs. The question is whether Australians are convinced by the alternative plan.
Well, no, it's not. The question is whether our energy is affordable and reliable. That's the question. The question is whether we are engaged in energy self-harm. And if the government is spending billions of dollars in subsidies to keep dirty coal-fired power going because the grid needs it, and if billions more in subsidies is being paid to keep electricity bills down, I think the answer is obvious. Is it asking too much of our public broadcaster to actually address these facts?